Hey everybody. So I just had a birthday. I turned 58 this year. Imagine how surprised I was. Usually when I go to memorial service, for friends and family, the other people just about drop dead when they see me walking their way. Amy? Amy, is that you? Oh yeah, it's me. I'm still here. I'm still alive and kicking. And then I remember, I'm a survivor. And then I take a minute and I remember some more. And that's one of the greatest assets of longevity. The ability to remember everyone else's past too. Because here's some news for you. Once you've made peace with your own past, no one has anything on you anymore. They can say what they want to. They can try and shoot you a side glance or two. They can even lean in and chat with their friends. And it will not faze you. Want to know why? Because once you've walked through fire, what are they going to do with their little bick? And that, my dear friends, is freedom. So as my new year begins, I'm all about fresh starts. New dreams, new visions, new plans. I do like taking a stroll through the memories of the previous year, looking for those flowers of progress. And I'm happy to announce my garden was full. I have actually improved since last year. So I wanted to begin this again. Number one, can we talk about addiction? But let's go about it in a different way. How about if we start by talking about going out and making a connect, doing the thing, and going home? What if we start out by talking about your good times? The times you had with your crew, or your family, or your friends, whoever you were doing your thing with. Them good times. You remember the good times, right? That's why we use. Why else would you use? And that's the question here today, boys. That's the question wrapped in a question. So let's make this real simple for you. The last time you went out, did you have a good time? Because this video wasn't meant to be a trip down memory lane. I'm not talking about the good old days here. I'm not talking about a few weeks back. I'm not talking about before they left. I'm not talking about before anything. I'm talking about now. And I want you to ask yourself, for the sake of conversation here, when was the last time you went out to have a ball-breaking, rock-and-rollin', life-altering good time? Did it happen? Or did something else happen instead? Because dollars to donuts, something else went down. Because it almost always does. Now, I'm not sure when I started doing this, how old I was, or how long I'd been using, but at some point, I honest to God started doing this. Started asking myself the day after if I had had a good time the night before. Because, after all, that's what I went out the front door for. That's what I was spending my money on. The promise of a good time. So was I having a good time? Or had something changed? Whenever I would come to sober up or calm down, asking the same thing. Did you have a good time? Yes or no? Because if your last night out wasn't full of warm, fuzzy memories that you can sock away in your old mental remembrance box, then maybe you should pause for a minute and actually listen to me. But if your life is full of days and nights, using with the boys, laughter, reaching emotional heights, mental, I would suggest you turn this noise off, because obviously you know where to find me. If you're having a good time, God bless you. Have at it. Say hi to everyone at the bar for me. But if you can see things going south, if you do feel like you're slipping a bit, if your edges are starting to come unraveled, well, you've come to the right spot. You found the right channel. And you're talking to the right girl. For the next year, we're going to be talking about addiction. But not just about addiction in general, because honestly, it seems to be pointless. Either you know or you don't. And that isn't to say that there isn't an awful lot of good information flying around about addiction. There's books about addiction, there's theories about addiction, a million ways to recover from addiction. But there's one thing that seems to be missing. No one seems to be talking about the pre-recovery. You know, the stuff that happens before you hit a room, any room. No one lands in a recovery room by accident. There was always some kind of process that came first, no matter what. Anyone I have ever met or known has had their own pre-recovery. A little bit of soul searching, a little bit of absolute terror, and there was a little bit, then a few tears shed. And it's at that point that we're losing people. That's where we're failing, and that is so unnecessary. I mean, somebody should be doing something about that. Because in case you haven't noticed, good people are dropping like flies out there. And since I don't see anybody else busting down the doors to address this topic, and really somebody should, I guess I will. Because you know the old adage, if it helps just one person, yada yada. However, if that one person is your kid, or your brother, or your friend, not so much the yada yada. I want to address all the stuff that comes with thinking about changing the amount you use every day. I want you to think of this as kind of a bridge between using and making the choice to stop. I think it's one of the biggest misconceptions there is about addiction. I mean, a lot of people think it's as easy as flipping a switch. Like, 1 minute you're out there partying with the boys, and the next we're profoundly driven to get sober. Especially if the last night out included police, hospitals, or humiliation. You know, that might happen for some people. But it didn't happen like that for me. It didn't happen like that for any of my friends, and it didn't happen like that for any of my family members. Hell, it didn't even happen like that for Bill Wilson, who is the founder of Alcoholics Anonymous. It is absolutely terrifying and overwhelming, even to think about trying to get sober. Especially if you're alone, or if you feel alone, and you really don't know what to do. It's kind of like being between a rock and a hard place. And you're tired, and you're hungry, and you just want to go home. Okay, well, you're not alone. Tons of people are in the same boat as you tonight. Believe it or not, some are doing a bit better. A lot of people are doing a lot worse. But you are sucking breath, and I am sucking breath, so we can move on. And together, we'll work on the overwhelming part. There are a lot of choices and paths to recovery. A lot of them are going to say, we're the only one true way. There are many paths. And in the next 50 weeks, we're going to talk about just a few, really. Not so that I can tell you what to do or what path you should take, but I want to offer you enough choices, informations, and tips that you'll be able to find your own personal path to recovery, to salvation, to you. I want to give you enough so that you and your loved ones can make the right choices and can understand all that's involved so that you can plan and prepare accordingly. Knowing some of the choices that will be offered before you even talk to anybody can help to reduce the intimidation. Okay? Having correct information can save a ton of guesswork. And the tips, that will help your chances of honestly changing. Because I believe you have fair questions. What is going to be required besides abstinence? We all know everybody's got rules. What are the rules? If you know that there's not going to be a magic pill for this, what should you expect? What can you honestly hope for? You know, there are so many questions and fear surrounding those questions. For a lot of people, it might seem easier to use. We're going to get rid of that. We're going to find out the answers for how can I pay for all this? What about my kids? What about my job? Who can help me with rides? See, unlike some in this field, I think that having honest information up front to answer some of these questions will help people, not hinder people from getting help. There seems to be this narrow-minded thinking when it comes to addiction recovery that says when an addict wants to get sober, what difference do the details make? Talk about being naive. Let's just be honest. It's the not having the answers to those details that stops some people from even trying to get help. You know, the process to recovery can seem way too overwhelming to even attempt. I know there's a lot of people right now that would like to change, who can see things starting to slip, who have no idea what they can do about it. And there really is nothing scarier than knowing you are really sick and not knowing what to do to get help. Recovery rooms, churches, support groups, they're all great and can really help people. But not until we get the butts in the chairs. We need to address the in-between. We need to talk about the pre-quitting. So, this week, I want to start with, did you have a good time? Alright everybody, thanks for watching. And please consider subscribing to the channel. If you liked the video, please hit the thumbs up. Bell icon will notify you when my next video is released. Until then, God bless. I'm M.A. Lomdieu, and I'm on the web, createyoursniceday.com. Thanks again, everybody. Good night. Goodbye.